I'm going down to the library, picking out a book, check it in, check it out. Gonna say hi to the dictionary, picking out a book, check it in, check it out.
Okay, hi. This week we have Terry Thiessen with us, and I'd like to welcome you, Terry. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, of course. Yes, so I know that you wear multiple hats in this community, like many of our guests here, and I'd like you to talk about that. What's your role in the community, and what organizations are you involved in?
Well, first of all, I'm almost a native citizen. I was born in Kiel, but we moved to New Holstein when I was 2 years old. And then I served in the service, so I was gone for 3 years. And then when we came back from Washington, D.C., I took a job in Valdez, so we lived in Valdez for a period of years. And then in 1978, we built our home here, the one we're currently living in, and have lived here ever since. Our children all have gone to school here and have participated in things. And of course, Karen was a teacher here for almost 40 years. So we've been deeply connected to the community in many ways. Right now, my connections are kind of in a variety of areas. Most people don't know that I'm a member of the board of directors of the New Holstein Cemetery Association. The cemetery is not owned by the city, even though it's called the city cemetery. It's a privately held nonprofit corporation run by a board. So that's one of the activities I participate in. It's more passive than active, but we do meet annually to make sure everything is good in the cemetery. Then I'm involved with various other organizations over the years, the Economic Development Corporation. I'm chair of the Historic Preservation Commission for the city, which is different than the Historical Society. And I've served on the negotiating committee. I've served on the Public Works Committee. So I've been on a lot of different committees within the council itself. And I've really enjoyed it. And I would, as long as we're talking about council right now, I would encourage people to seriously look at running for election to the council. I've either been appointed or I have run uncontested all the times that I've been on the council. So, and I want to say that 10 years probably.
Yeah,
And then, I
I
mean,
do want to. Oh, I'm
I mean, it's
sorry.
kind of nice for me. I mean, I don't have to put up signs. I don't have to do a lot of advertising, but it doesn't speak well in my mind of the interest within the community. I mean, a lot of people have good ideas, but they aren't interested or willing to take that step to run for the council. Um,
I have to say, first, I really wanted to interrupt you back there and say thank you for your service, but thank you. Additionally, I think that that is such a great point, and that has been something that I've really been active in discussions with people in the community. I saw this huge, overwhelming interest over some issues in the last couple of years, and I find it like it's remarkable when people take that next step. So you can get passionate about an issue, and then that next step is finding a way to contribute and give service to your community. And that I believe is really through, you know, sitting on seats like that, on boards, on being on the council and doing the work. You know, people have an interest, but then lack maybe sometimes the understanding of what that work is that you guys are putting in behind the scenes. So I love that you are, as a current member, encouraging people to run against you. I love that.
right. And I think before we had the committee of the whole, which could be another discussion, but before that, we had separate committees that were made up of both council or alderpersons and community persons. I think that was really good because it gave general public an introduction to what happens with the committees, which then gives them some idea of what goes on with the council. And that helped raise interest in serving on the council. And that path is gone. I mean, there's still community members on the Historic Preservation Committee and on the Police and Fire Commission Committee and the Utilities Commission. But all the rest of the committees have been melded into the Committee of the Whole, and the council members are the only ones who are members of that committee. So that has changed a little bit the introduction to what it means to be a council. The other area that I'm very involved in is Historic Society, the Holstein Historical Society. I was president for probably 10, 11, 12 years. I'm now the immediate past president. But I was the fundraiser for the Tim House restoration. And we have done a lot. And our goal is basically to preserve, conserve, and restore the historic resources of the community, the area, and to educate. I mean, it's important for people, especially people who aren't natives or 2, 3 generations, especially for folks like you, someone new to the area, to know,
Certainly, I was gonna, yeah.
to know the history of who we are, where we came from, and why we're kind of going in the direction we're going. And the Historical Society provides all of this, you know, and we have 230, 240 members, most of whom
Wow.
are passive members. The active core of members is probably about 20 that participate in being hosts or guides, are able to and willing to help when we move things or set up new displays, clean the buildings, all of those mundane historical tasks.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it depends on who you talk to because I think some people love the work of kind of going through and holding these objects and looking at and being a part of and being close to and connected with the history. That is how I actually became familiar with you because we receive a lot of questions here at the library regarding the history of New Holstein. And as a person who came just a few years ago, I'm always turning to other experts. I mean, we have some resources here. You've been instrumental in answering some of my questions as I dig for information. And every time I find such a rich history, and it's amazing how connected globally New Holstein has been. You know, I mean, ways that some of the
Right.
industry that has been through here is remarkable. It's incredible. And I think that's a great way to promote a sense of community. So you mentioned what you, how, like what you guys do, how do you get involved? How do you become an active member, I would say?
Um, Pick up a app or a membership form and pick a level of membership, send in your check, and you're all set.
Easy peasy. Perfect. Now the
Easy
community
peasy.
knows.
We don't hassle you. We'll invite you to work. If you're interested, check that off. And somebody will call you.
Cool.
Or if you just want to help support. Obviously, the age of our core group is getting to the point where it is more difficult to do the heavy lifting of things.
Hmm.
We used to have members who would go up on the roof and clean out eaves troughs. Well, there isn't anybody who can do that anymore. And those types of
Hmm.
things. We used to be able
Hmm.
to move most of the heavy furniture that we own and heavy display things. We have to hire people to do that. So,
Hmm.
I mean, there's a big area of need right now. And with the COVID, people tend to forget that we still have to pay our utility bills. We have to pay
Hmm.
um, a variety of things. We're working on projects. We're replacing the front doors of the Pioneer Museum. We're um, looking at properties that are historic and maybe going up for sale. Um,
Hmm.
so that's a challenge for us uh, to try and save those buildings. But we really like to encourage people to just join and support us. We've been very
Hmm.
fortunate over the past 10 years to have some very um, dedicated third generation people who have reached the end of their earthly journey and have been
Hmm.
generous in their gifts after passing, which has helped us stay afloat through some pretty tight times, which one of which is what we're going through now. We can't be
Right.
open. Um,
I was
we
wondering.
haven't been able to figure out how to open up safely, how
Hmm.
to disinfect the historic items without damaging them in any way, how
Right.
to keep our guides and and hosts safe. Most of them are in
Hmm.
the danger area, um,
Hmm.
so they don't want to put themselves at risk, which I can't blame them. Um,
Right.
so we're hoping to reopen in May of 21,
Hmm.
knock on wood, and we'll go from there. Um,
Yeah. So a call
everything.
out to the community, though. I mean, really, I think that's you've already given two calls out to the community, and that is for people to get more involved in local government and to get involved in that historical society. I think anytime I hear someone complain about their community, my first question is, what are you active in? What
Right.
what organizations? I mean, hearing you list all the things that you have had hands in this community is astounding and inspiring. You know, it shows, I think, a great love for your community and also that next step. Like I said, you know, we can people can complain. In personal life, I say, are you doing something about it? So these are calls to action that anyone can do, anyone. And
Right.
I love that. So thank you for that.
And it's really, we've kicked around the idea of trying to start up a school club, history club, without any real success. But that's a really important group, along with young adult married couples or single, to help us survive and to help carry the story forward. I mean,
Absolutely.
we all know the line, history repeats itself, and it's very true. But people here in many of these small communities go, well, what can we do? What are we going to be? We're going to be a veteran community. We're going to die. Well, no, none of that is going to happen if we don't let it happen. And if we all get involved and say, you know what, instead of complaining about what we had, how many big businesses we had, how many bars we had and are losing, whatever it is, how many churches are losing members, we need to say, okay, what am I going to do to help my community stay vibrant? And if it means taking a risk once in a while, we have to do that. And that's part of what your aldermen do. We have to look at the whole package. What's best for most people? If it means taking a risk, and we've done that over the years. We took a risk with the airport, and without it, Tecumseh never would have materialized. Other things wouldn't have happened because of the airport. We took a risk on building good schools. And that was so very important. The city took a risk by keeping green spaces. And that's one of the things people say. I've moved here because of the parks. You know, we got this.
Almost every person that I have talked to, that I have interviewed, I would say 75% at this point, have listed parks as one of their favorite things in the community. I mean, it is just an overwhelming response. And, you know, honestly, some of the vibrancy of a community comes not just in what it is, but what people see it as and what work people are putting in. I mean, if people care and are putting in work and trying and striving for something, that alone, I think, has the power to elevate a community. I mean, you know, I think it's easy to say what we don't have or what we lack, but if you have enthusiasm, people working toward goals, all of that will make a community be vibrant and feel vibrant. Just sometimes it's simply caring and putting in the effort. So yeah. I love hearing about some of those things that at the time were risky decisions, because I'm a huge advocate of risk. And sometimes it does feel like the risk aversion might be what stifles creativity, newness, change, growth. So yeah, I love encouraging risk. That's great.
Yeah, it's, and there's so many things that could happen here that would move the community by leaps and bounds to be better than we are. I mean,
be the best
and
us. Yeah.
History repeats itself, but if you live in history and not think the other direction, you become stagnant. And too many people think about what it was and why can't it be that way. Well, we all know time doesn't stand still for anybody. And
Right.
whatever we had that was good can happen again in a different way. And that's important.
Right.
And if you go to any community our size, you're going to find the same challenges that we face. Empty storefronts on your main street. Some areas of housing in the residential area are in need of work. So the country faces this problem, and it's up to us as citizens to, number one, share your ideas with your aldermen. We
Mhm.
can't think of everything. And number two, get involved in scouts and
Yes,
whatever you have that you can get involved with.
yes,
A good
yes.
a good example in our neighboring community, and I don't know enough about our food pantry here, but I do know about the one that's open in Kiel because I serve on the church council and we're one of the people who helped support it. When COVID hit, the old board quit and left it going to close up. Well, a group of citizens got together and formed a new corporation. And in the past, that food pantry has always struggled for donations. I talked with one of the board members the other day, and I said, Randy, do you need something for the food pantry? Oh, he said, Terry, you can't believe the donations. He said, we're getting
Mm,
pallets of food. I've had to buy more
mm,
freezers for meat, all of these kinds of things. And I said,
mhm.
are you going out soliciting? No. He said, we just let people know we were open under new management. And if they felt like giving, giving. So he said, we've got more cash. We've got more products being brought in. There's a good example of you and me and the neighbor each doing something, even if it was a case of something.
Yes. Yeah,
And
I think you hit on something that one of the things that I have felt quite strongly, the only positive really that is emerging from COVID for me is I think people were resetting some of their priorities to be back to local and to realize the impact you could make here and to feel grateful for, like, my husband and I say all the time, we are both still working. And for that, we have so much gratitude, and then therefore turn to ways that we can pass that along, that luck or those resources. And so we're sitting on this time, I think, in history where we can really reset that and find ways to give more, and we can do it right here locally, and then it impacts people right here locally. And that's so, I think, important to kind of come back to. So it's so exciting to hear that they're overwhelmed with donations. That's good.
yes, it is. Let's see. I think that pretty much talked. I'm involved in a lot of other organizations statewide and outside of New Holstein. But those
Hmm.
are the key ones here in town that I'm involved
Yeah.
with.
Well, you answered in my one question. We went way off topic in a good way, and I think you answered most of my questions actually. I briefly want to touch on, because I mentioned I ask everybody their favorite thing. You clearly have so many things you're passionate about in this community, in this city. Can you name a favorite event, place, something like that? Can you pick?
Well, I guess my favorite passion is the Historical Society and the things that we
Mhm.
do. Um,
Okay,
I'm a
that's good.
curator, so basically what it means is I'm responsible for the care of everything we own. So
Hmm.
it's the buildings, it's the collections, um,
Hmm.
identifying items,
Hmm.
um, determining what we accept and don't accept, which
I was
is
wondering. Yeah.
that's a that's a challenge because
Mhm.
most people that give to items, historical items to the society, believe in their hearts that it is truly an important artifact or document.
Oh.
Um,
Hmm.
and it's very difficult to tell people, especially people you've known all your life.
Oh,
I'm
I can't
really, I
imagine.
really am interested in this. It looks beautiful. I'm sure it means a lot to you, but we've got 12 of these in our collection,
Hmm.
or these really don't fit into what we collect because
Hmm.
we are limited by space as well. So we have to pick and choose very carefully what goes into it.
right.
That's a very difficult situation to be in.
I do, collection management in the library. Obviously, that's a big thing that we do, and have taken some courses about curation. And it is so interesting to try to outline criteria that covers everything, so that you almost have like a list of,
Right.
does it meet this first? Yes. Does it meet this? Because otherwise, yes, there's so much emotion involved. And when you're talking historical items and somebody's passing it along, then assumedly it came from their family who's been here for years and years. And so if it has local importance, there's just too many emotions involved to make.
Right.
So now you need like the flow chart that says, ultimately, no, we can't use this because we have finite space. Like you said, if we had all the space in the world, sure, we'd take it all. But yeah. That's something we face here too. Yeah.
The other thing that is challenging and I guess hurtful personally for me is when somebody comes in, let's say with a jewelry box that their great grandmother owned, and we do a temporary receipt so that if I can't tell right away, we'll take it on a temporary basis and explain what our process is. So, okay, so I take it and I do some research. We've got a couple of historical experts that we work with. And, they come and they look at it and they go, well, if it was a great grandmother, it's a pretty young great grandmother because this is from 1930, or this is from 1940. And then go back to the family and say, this I can tell is really valuable to you, but unfortunately, it's not your great grandmother's. Was purchased sometimes in 1940.
That is heartbreaking work.
It's so disappointing to see them.
Yes.
And then on the flip side of that, we have people yet who just drop things literally on our doorstep. I'll come in the morning, and I used to go every day. This thing here keeps me from going every day, but get there in the morning, and here's a box of stuff in front of the door, or on the back loading dock, or somewhere on the bench outside. No identification on it, nothing. We can take it, but the legal process is very involved to do that. So the only thing we can do, and I even hate to look at it for fear there's something really valuable in there, but the only thing we can do is dispose of it.
Oh, well, that's a good PSA. Don't leave your stuff outside the Historical Society.
No, I came one day and there was several bags of old Christmas ornaments and some old jewelry. I tried to check with people. I asked Julia if she sees, sometimes she'll see people dropping stuff and can give me an idea. Nobody knew. It just broke my heart to come to the board and say, look at this stuff. Anybody know? Anybody see any of this at their friend's house? No. So I said, it's going to go.
Yeah, that is so sad. Do you have a good following on social media? Does the Historical Society have a Facebook page?
I'd have to ask Linda Schneider when she monitors that, but we don't have a great following.
Okay, you do have a Facebook page though, right?
Simply because of the age bracket many of our people are in. They don't have access, or they're very protective of sharing email address, or we go out and try to find them on Facebook and they aren't there. That's a major problem for the State Historical Society as well. I mean, this pretty much is a paper-driven, mail-driven population that we're working with. Our newer
Sure. I
members
just
are
always see
all,
those.
go ahead.
Your newer members. Well, I was just going to say, I always see those things on Facebook or social media where it's trying to track down the owner of something like a roll of film or what,
Right.
with enough shares, not encouraging anybody to leave their stuff out anymore. Just,
Right.
next time we'll do a hunt and find it. I feel like social media has been the way to track down those owners before. And also now with this video, I'm going to share that New Holstein Historical Society does have a Facebook page. And in fact, people can follow it and get news. And, that tends to be where a lot of people seek their information, is right from Facebook. Sorry. So anyway, go ahead. You were going to say something about your new members?
Our new members are in the 40, 50-year-old age is where we usually find them. There too, a lot of them have children, so they don't have a lot of time to help. There are weekends when we're open, they want to be doing, weekend camping trips or baseball or soccer. So it makes it difficult to get people together. And of course now, during COVID, we have no fundraising events, which definitely hinders us. But we just, we've talked about it. Could we do this? Could we do that? Well, we're exposing people, so we don't want to do that.
Right. I appreciate that. Yeah. Terry, you answered a lot of the questions. I feel that this conversation took us down a better road than our normal questions allow, because I had so many inspiring calls to action that at the end of this interview, I'm going to remind everybody all of the things that you can do right in your own community to make it a better place, to be involved, to get excited about it again. And so for that, I thank you so much. And thank you for your time today and for talking to me. So, and I just want to wish you a wonderful end of the week here, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Thank you very much, Dee.
Thanks, Terry. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi, this is Tara. I am here to do a book talk with you. As you can tell, I'm on location. I am not at the library. I don't know if it's really a location though. Let's see if you can use your super spy skills to figure out where I am. There's a kitchen sink. You can hear a cat meowing in the background. I'm at home. Yes. So my cat, her name is Baby. Isn't she cute? Yes. She's one of our pets. She wants to go outside, but she's not going outside. So anyway, she would like to come and be with us for our book talk, though, I can tell, because she got quiet. So the reason I asked you to use your super spy skills is because today I'm going to talk about a book series that I really love. It is a cozy series, and cozies are books that are typically about a murder mystery, but the murder is typically done not as the main part of the book. It'll be in there, but it won't be all about the blood and the gore, and you won't have tons of medical information about what's going on. So the books typically have a puzzle for you to solve. Some of them have things about cooking, and some are, I read a series that's about home improvement, how to fix your house up. So there are lots of different genres within. So good things to check out. Ask at the library. We can help you find them if you think this is something. They're typically a book that I read in a day or two. So, and there is an entire cozy series about cat that has a cat as the main heroine, and it's called the Cat Who series. However, that's for a different day. So today I'm talking about a series that is written by Jen McKinley, and she has written a couple of different series, but this one is about a library and the librarians that work there. So the director seems to always be getting involved in some murder that happens in a very small town. I'm thinking, who would want to move there? But they're very good. I find them to be simple to read. And I tell you, when life is a little stressful, a cozy can be a good thing. So there are, I believe, 9 books in this particular series. I have a couple of them with me. Books Can Be Deceiving is one of them. Do or Die. Book Line or Sinker. So she's got some kind of cute titles, but definitely I think worth a read. And if you're just looking for, I call them kind of fluff, some kind of fluff books that you can read before you go to bed and not be scared to death. It's not like a Stephen King, although I do enjoy a good Stephen King. You'll be able to sleep after you read. So, although I will tell you, sometimes it's because I'm so excited to find out what happens next. This series does have a little bit of romance in it too. So that's all I'm going to tell you about it. The books are available in our system, but I don't know that we have any actually in our library. So we would have to send for them, but not a big deal. I got mine to do this in one day. So it's nice to have this opportunity to talk with you. See you soon at the library.
I'm going down to the library, picking out a book, check it in, check it out. Gonna say hi to the dictionary, picking out a book, check it in, check it out. I'm going down to the library.